Like I know something gonna happen. Something's gonna go wrong, and I'm gonna complain about the movie somehow. I don't know, but so far so good, man. So far so good. Um, Good morning, good morning, good morning. You know what, Brad? Let's skip the traditions and just get to it. All right, yo. All right, crazy week. Last week before MegaCon here in Orlando, Suicide Squad done dropped. The Venom trailer done dropped. Disney looks like they done clapped back at Scarlett Johansson like, hold up, bitch. We got the contract and let's go ahead and put it on blast. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on, man. But me, I, for one, am like hella geeked up about what I've seen thus far, even though I have yet to actually complete the Suicide Squad movie. But so far, it sounds like I'm the one missing out. Everybody else on the panel done seen it already. Yes, you've seen it already, right?
Yeah, I saw it on Thursday when it came out.
Yeah, you digging it? What's up? How you doing?
I did not have too many arguments about it. I do have a bitch of the week though for you guys.
Oh, you got a bitch of the week. Ah, yes, we always love you. Bitch of the week. Is it Tyrone? I hope not.
Yeah, I'm really close every week. This week I finally made it.
No, it's not Tyrone.
Yeah, man. All right, good. Well, what's going on, Tyrone? How you doing this morning, bro?
I'm all right, man. I'm good. Yeah.
Suicide Squad stuff.
Start the weekend. Yeah, Suicide Squad. Yeah. No, in general, no complaints, no notes.
Okay, cool. Bet, man. Well, we got Ty is reporting live from the wedding reception. He got to hurry up and get back out before they call his name, and he danced down the aisle right there. What's going on, homeboy? Boy, you look fresh, bro. Look at you.
Excellent back, pink shirt. What's up?
Man? Yo, bro. A pimp named Slickback, bro. What's up?
Hey, man. Listen, man. This is just my day job.
Yo, man, I ain't gonna lie, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't know whose wedding it is, man.
Right?
But
your eyebrows look fresh. You know, you got the, your face looks fresh. Like,
man.
Out there, Ty. Okay.
I usually get made up whenever me and my variant go on dates.
Does
the variant do it or do you do it?
I mean, we both do it. We like to look good for ourselves.
Yo, I think that there was. Man, I should have downloaded that, bro. I think we had live footage of you and your Spidey variant.
Oh my god!
Having some fun on the street. Yeah, that was. We'll have to get that up and loaded before the show's over. But for right now, brother, I for one am a quarter of the way through this Suicide Squad movie, and thus far, I mean, I'm just gonna talk about the stuff that I can, obviously, since I ain't seen the whole thing. This dude Idris out the gate just made me forget all about Will Smith, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, Will who? And I know he's not playing, Deadshot, so it's not like he's replacing his character like I originally thought when the trailer first came out. But Idris, bro, I mean, from Heimdall to Bloodsport, he's holding it down. I can't say anything bad about that. I mean, I'm hoping that that's something that we can all agree on. I can't speak too ill about your boy either, man. I mean, sometimes people like to sit and talk trash about John Cena, but thus far the dude has made me laugh. Yaz, for some strange reason, I feel like Yaz probably really love this character. I'm hoping that this ain't the bitch of the week, but I don't know, man. What's your thoughts thus far, man, on the whole John Cena, Idris Elba?
So Vince, I hate to be that person that bearer of bad news, but John Cena was my bitch of the week.
No, wow, yo, what's John Cena with the whitey tighties, the tighty whities?
Yeah, finish watching the movie, you'll understand.
Oh, damn! All right,
that's all I got to say. Okay, we'll reconvene this conversation next week. That's all. Finish watching.
Oh no!
Thanks for joining us, everybody. See you next week.
Guys declared John Cena this week on Suicide Squad. He is my official bitch of the week. But I mean, don't get me wrong. Like he did try, and I'll give him that for it.
Yo, I mean, I mean, we can't obviously. I don't want to. Even if I had seen the whole thing, I probably wouldn't want to talk too much about it. But hopefully, it ain't that bad. And I mean, Amanda Waller is doing her thing. I don't know, man. I just think that this is overall just a better production. You can see and feel the James Gunn oozing through the script and through the screenplay, man. So I'm geeked up. I'm so tempted to hit the video button so bad, but I won't because I don't want us to get canceled. But I mean, thus far, Tyrone, did you see the first one? I'm assuming you obviously saw the first one, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, are we seeing any real? Did you like the first one?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Not even a tiny bit. Not even
a little bit. That was. I mean, I enjoyed watching it because it was like one of those movies where you're just for me. I was like, this movie is so bad that it's fascinating. Like that's how I saw the first Suicide Squad. So, yeah, no, this one was refreshing in that like it wasn't a bad movie. Like I wasn't sitting there like, wow, this is bad, and you know, it wasn't like, oh my god, this is great, this is groundbreaking. I don't know if it was like extremely special, but like it was fun and it was a good movie. And like I'm like, okay, this is good. All right, like this is good for DC. They cleared a certain hurdle. They cleared a certain bar to where I'm not sitting there just like, oh, how much longer is this damn movie?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's how I feel. Talim, I think we probably all feel the same way, that anytime DC does anything remotely not whack, we're like, hell yeah, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on in. And I think that this may be their new thing. If you notice, DC seems to do fairly better, except when it comes to their main cast of characters, right? Batman, Superman. Yeah. But when it comes to putting out movies, team seems to be the way to go. Justice League, you know what I'm saying? On the TV shows, Titans, you know, Doom Squad, Doom Patrol, you know, it seems that they do better with an array of characters, Talim. I mean, is that the only way that DC, short of Christopher Nolan, can really be successful? Or I don't know. What are we looking at here? Why Suicide Squad seem to be something that they're able to actually do well with, you know?
I'm actually going to take a different viewpoint than everybody else, because I actually, for me, DC is always that subject that, you know, I get real emotional about, passionate about, because I mean, I don't think there's anybody on the face of this planet that wants DC to win more than me. And I think after watching this movie, because what I'm hearing from a lot of you guys is just like, you know, it wasn't bad. It was all right, you know, and I think that is kind of really, really discrediting how good this movie really was. I believe, again, that a lot of people, not necessarily us, but a lot of people are so caught up with Marvel that, you know, if it ain't a Marvel production, you know, it doesn't get the same headway that Marvel gets. But I will go as far as saying this. If this were a Marvel production of this same movie, I do believe that the tone of this conversation would be completely different than what we're hearing right now. This movie, overall, James Gunn really showed me, like, you know, I'm always giving Kevin Feige his flowers. Well, this time we got to give James Gunn his flowers, because the writing on this script and the way that because this is what DC always wanted. Like, just so people are clear, DC always wanted to be the comic book, you know, culture that is putting out rated R, borderline rated X movies and shit like that. Like this is what they always wanted to do. They always wanted to go and push the limits of what they're doing, and they did that. Like, I mean, we saw there was some shit in this movie. Like, we saw a full frontal of a dude in a window, dick out, all of that shit. And like, yo, I was like, well, damn, did they really just, is that his dick? Like, they really did. James Gunn did that. You know, we go in a strip club, we got nude motherfuckers. We got motherfuckers actually nude in the strip club. We don't just see a little bit of shaking that. We see some titties and ass and all of that. Okay. And so these are things that you won't see in a Marvel film. that you were able to see in a way that it wasn't so distasteful that you're just like, this is a sweat film and everything like that. And the comedic side of this movie, bro, I was dying from the onset. When I saw Weasel, I was like,
oh my God, yes.
I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yo, dog. What kind of fucking dog is that?
Yo, there was a lot of different little things. Like, for instance, what's his name? Blackguard. You know what Blackguard's real name is?
No.
Dick Hurts. that's his name.
Amazing.
On the food is Dick Hurts. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's on his IMDb.
That is what's on his IMDb. Yo, and it was just from the onset, bro. You know what Suicide Squad did? They took the algorithm that the boys use, that Invincible uses, and kind of took that and added that to this movie, and just killed it, just made it what it was. And I disagree with Yaz. I think that John Cena, from an acting standpoint, because I've seen him in a lot of movies, I would say this goes up there as one of his better performances, because he, as much as a dickhead that he was, you know what I'm saying, he was a formidable dickhead. And at times you kind of was like, I kind of like him. Oh no, he's a dick. Nah, he's a dick. You know what I mean? So it was like that. So I don't know. She gave him the bitch of the week. I'm kind of like, all right, I don't know, man. I don't know why he deserved that. I could have found somebody else to take that bitch of the week. But,
I think maybe the character instead of the actor maybe is what you're talking.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I honestly, like, I mean, nothing against John Cena. I just didn't like the character he portrayed in this movie. Like, that was just it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, his whole, like, I can't obviously dig into it because Vince hasn't seen, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to kill it for him. But just, like, certain aspects about his character and what he was portraying and everything. Like, I don't know. He just seems, it just seemed like typical, like, shitty John Cena, you know what I'm saying? But then again, like, after, like, watching it and, like, looking over it, I was like, okay, that was what his character, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just didn't like his character in the movie. Like, that's just me. That's why he's my bitch of the week, because his character was just like trash to me. Like,
what was it about his character though, Yaz, that you?
I can't dig into it because then I'm gonna ruin shit for Vince. That's
I
can't divulge into what I want to because Vince hasn't seen all of it, so it would be ruining a lot of things.
What about me, Ty? Like, why you
I called you as soon as it dropped and told you about it, and it is now Saturday, and here we are again.
You called me when it was. You told me it was going to drop on Thursday,
and I did.
I couldn't watch it on Thursday. I couldn't watch it yesterday.
Couldn't watch it Friday. Couldn't watch it Thursday.
I could not watch it Friday.
Shit is on a fucking streaming app that you can put on.
Just because you were sitting at the wedding watching it on your goddamn phone, don't mean that I had the time. I'm sure they would say, "Hey, do you really like to say I do?" You were sitting there like watching it with your headphones in, which is probably what I would have done too. I ain't gonna lie, but I don't know what's gonna happen with John Cena, but at least I have something to look forward to. But you're definitely right about one thing. I'm about 20 minutes in, and I've seen all kind of dick prints, an actual whole dick, and that definitely is something I have not seen in the MCU.
And you know what's really funny too, Vince? Like, Austin missed that whole like first 30, I would say like 40 minutes almost of the movie. Man. Right, like because he left to go to the studio, and I was at home, and I had like a long ass day, and I was like, man, I'm gonna go up in the office, and I'm just gonna like just die. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give myself a break. I have to watch this anyway. Let's watch this fucking movie and be responsible, and at least do one thing responsible, right? So I watched the movie, and I'm like watching it, and like he left, and normally like I sometimes have to like let him know I'm gonna watch it. I just was like, fuck it. So he left, and he came back, and I didn't think he was gonna come back that soon, and he came back like 40 minutes into it, and I was like, oh, hey. He was like, it came out, you're watching it? I was like, just sit down and shut up. Like, I don't have time for you right now. So he sat down, and he's like watching, and he's like, yo, he watched all that whole, like the rest of the movie and missed the first 40 minutes. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go to bed. I was like, but it's imperative that you watch the first 30 minutes. And he was like, why? I was like, you have to watch the first 30 minutes. So he went back and watched it, and tell me why when I woke up the next day, this dude was like, that was fucking hilarious. He's like, yeah, that was good. He was like, it's definitely a good movie.
So Yaz, you think the movie is more funny than I mean, is it the humor in this movie that makes it palatable? I mean,
it definitely adds, and then like it makes it a lot sweeter. I would definitely say that the comedy in it, because it's like it's like some dumb shit we would say, you know what I'm saying? Like
right.
It's like perfect quips, you know, at the right time, you know, like your mom jokes or like dick joke, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like perfect, you know, and it's hilarious. So it's, I don't know, it's, the comedy definitely was great in it. The acting was really good, you know, from all actors standpoint. Like nobody slacked on anything, and like it was really funny too, because like in the beginning, like the parts that you saw, you know what I'm saying, like they just get dropped off in a fucking beach, you know what I mean? Like they meet everybody, right. And like dude is fucking killing a damn bird with the fucking racquetball, like, and he's got long hair, and it's fucking like it's the blue dude from I can't remember his name right now, Yondu,
well,
Guardians of the Galaxy, and and like he's like running away, like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like it's his head blown off. So it's like, I don't know. There's a lot going on in the first like 10 minutes. And I really liked, you know, all the sequences and how, you know, they kind of gave us, you know, like the characters, and they gave us like what the fuck, why they were there. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I liked how DC is picking up on that from Marvel. There's a lot of great action scenes in this movie too. And there's like the comedy that goes along with it is really good as well. It's just, I don't know. The only thing I didn't like was just like John Cena's character just rubbed me really fucking wrong. I can't let this go. Like, I don't know what it is.
Wow.
I might have to watch this a second time. You know what I'm saying? Just because I want, but I literally was like, I cannot. He's my 100% my bitch of the week, bro. Like,
wow.
To his credit, I think that's it. That's what he was going for, and I think that's what they were going for. Yeah,
I completely agree with you. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, to his credit, he did a great job at making me hate him. I'm so proud. Like I'm so proud because he's growing as an actor. You know what I'm saying? It's really paying off whatever he's doing. So like John Cena, keep it up. I'm just saying, like he was like the damn villain in The Boys. You know what I'm saying? Like the Mr. fucking like, you know, the damn. Yeah, Commander, like he's just, you know, I didn't like his character at all. Like if I could have like choked his ass out, you know what I'm saying? I would have done that shit.
Wow. Well, I guess that's one way to feel about a character, and I guess that does say something about his acting cred. Now, I guess where's his? Did they do a good job of tying these two movies together? You know what I'm saying? Like what?
I don't think they were doing that.
I haven't seen the whole thing.
That's so. Honestly, I think that's one of the strengths of the movie is that they didn't do anything to tie anything into anything. Right. They were just like, we're making this movie. It's its own movie. Mm-hmm. It's disconnected from whatever else is going on, except for like crucial, you know, story. Like they have explosives in their head and they have to do what she says. You know, like that. Right. They need that stuff. But like other than that, this was something that stood alone, and I think it was stronger because of it.
For sure.
You know, they got to just kind of get all these ridiculous characters together and just have a good time. And I think because of that, because they weren't trying so hard to tie shit in and then failing at that or like just doing like a half-ass job at it, they got to just have a good time and make a fun movie with a bunch of, you know, super, super ridiculous characters.
Yeah, they were pretty awesome. No lie. Like Vince, my favorite characters, no lie, are the fucking shark guy and the polka dot dude. Those are my two favorite.
Yeah, and by the way, just in case you didn't know, the voice.
I know. I didn't know that. I caught on, and then I looked at the end, and I was dying. I was like, dude, of course he was.
Yeah, it made sense. It sounded like him too, like when he was talking a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. But
they were just like, can you speak a little bit clearer, Mr. Stallone? We need to understand the shark. And like, and so he really put everything he had into it. And he was like, like he
embodied that shark for sure.
Yeah. All right. So a part of me is like, I have this weird thing, guys, that's completely unjustified. But I get this weird territorial sense when I see Marvel folks in DC movies. I'm like, yo, wait a minute, you're crossing the streams. You know what I'm saying? And so when I'm looking at, because I just read something about his character in Guardians of the Galaxy being expounded upon. So I don't know if that's a real thing or not, but I'm interested in that. But when I saw him even to an extent, seeing Heimdall as Bloodsport, I'm like, you know,
and
but that just shows
John was there too.
Yeah, and he's the. I mean, it was very first one. So yeah, there's
His
something
hair
about
all, like miraculously blowing in the wind and shit.
Yeah, all that. And so you can imagine how angry I was when I saw Rocket from Guardians of the Galaxy pull up in that bed. Like, yo, you was in the, like, how you even? Nah, obviously that's not him. But yo, Tyleek, did you hate the Suicide Squad as much as Tyrone did? Because I didn't hate it. I mean, I didn't like it.
No. We talked about this already before.
Yeah.
I didn't hate Suicide Squad. I mean, I didn't think it was a great movie, but I definitely didn't hate it. I mean, he made a comment and he said it was so boring, it was fascinating.
So bad, it was so bad, it was fascinating.
Bad, it was fascinating.
It wasn't boring. Yeah.
So bad that it was fascinating. And I would dare say that the movie we just saw last week would have definitely been that movie that was so bad that it was fascinating. I don't even know how those two go together. But
the Green Knight.
The Green Knight. Yeah, it was. I was being facetious because there was really nothing fascinating about.
I totally forgot about that movie. I didn't even watch it. Shit.
So did I. Yes.
We forgot. We both forgot about it as soon as we left the movie theater. We left the movie theater and forgot we just saw the shit. So, I mean, don't feel bad. But again, I really want people who have not seen this movie to really go and check this movie out,
for sure.
and don't watch it under the filter of a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
But if you do, if you want to make a comparison, because we do talk a lot here about ratings and things like that. Well, this movie is getting better ratings than Black Widow did on its startup. So just putting that out there, it is getting better ratings than Black Widow. So if we're gonna put it up there in Marvel and give it a comparison and make a comparison, then I would put Suicide Squad up against Black Widow, and then ask those people who've seen both movies which was better, and I think the answer will be pleasantly surprised with.
I think for me, I think Black Widow was the better movie. I think Suicide Squad was more fun, and I think it was a more enjoyable movie overall. And I didn't watch Suicide Squad comparing it to anything because I knew what it was, you know what I mean. And I think they did a great job with what this movie is. There was a question that was that says, "What parody movie would you compare it to?" And I wouldn't compare it to a parody movie. It wasn't making fun of itself or anything else really. It was it was kind of like sincere in a really good way. Yeah. I would say it kind of reminded me of the movie Mystery Men, which is
I was about to say that. I was about to say that, bro. Go ahead.
Because it's like, because it's like it's absurd, but it's so good in how absurd it is, and it just knows it and it just plays there. And so Mystery Men, an older movie, but really hilarious superhero movie. And I think this is what compares mostly to that, and in a very, very good way. That's the thing, like with Suicide Squad, I don't have any complaints about it, and I don't really have I don't have notes. Like I'm just like, y'all, you set out to do something and you did it. You made a fun movie. It's really good. It's funny. It's fun to watch. I think the only thing that you can't really do, and it's by design, it's on purpose with this, is just build a lot of backstory for characters when you have so many of them that are just being introduced. But they even play with that and they have fun with that. So even still, no complaints.
Yes. Yeah. They did.
Yeah. I mean, they did give us. I mean, one thing I loved is how they gave us. Well, again, seeing as I haven't seen the whole thing, in the first bit that I've seen, I already see the dynamic, complex relationship between Bloodsport and his daughter, which I thought was a very good take on parenthood. Instead of it always being the loving, you know what I'm saying? Oh, my daughter, we play catch together. We was leaving the ice cream shop in the middle of the city at night. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a realistic depiction of a tumultuous relationship between a father and a daughter, of which both evidently are, have some sort of criminal instincts. So I like that better than always having the sunny supersized everybody's just so friendly. We love each other. We all sit and eat dinner at the dinner table. Bullshit. Like that shit don't happen. Like people don't do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not real. No, there's no June Cleaver in these freaking movies. So I like the fact that there was that weird dynamic. I don't think that is even a comparison. I've only seen a quarter of the movie, and I'm way more into it than I was to Black Widow. And as obviously, you know, I'm a Marvel fanatic. You know, I got it tatted over my, you know, over the crack of my back. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, I'm just playing. That's not true. I don't.
It is true. Don't believe him.
But it's Marvel.
Pictures of that.
But it's Marvel. Okay, you know, that's it works. But I don't even think it's even questionable. I would pose a question to the folks in the comments, like if you could read, like which one, if you saw both of them, which one do you like more? Because I honestly haven't even seen the whole Suicide Squad, and I already like this one more. I like Old Boy with the polka dot. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, it's way better.
Show up in all these DC movies, like Old Boy was, I mean, he was in like the Batman Begins movie, and then he was in Gotham.
So this morning, actually, it was my morning post of how many different DC movies that specific actor has been in.
Oh, for real?
So, yeah, like that was like our morning post for our group this morning. So hold on, let me tell you how many it's been.
Oh, you posted that? Let me see if you. I don't know if I can find that or not. But yeah, that is a fascinating thing that he has such a familiar face, but unfamiliar enough that he can be recast in all these different shows.
Yeah, he's got resting villain face, and whatever he does, like he's never going to play a hero.
Resting villain face, he did not. So okay, so he's been in The Dark Knight, Gotham. He was in Ant-Man. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's the
he's the best friend of like, you know, like
the with T.I. in them.
Yeah, I take it back. He can be a hero. That dude's a hero. I forgot all
about that.
Yeah, he's only a hero in that one. That's the only one. He's in The Flash. He's in the animated series Batman and the Long Halloween, and then Suicide Squad. So he's in like 6 different, like he's crossed over. Like legit.
Long, did you say Long Halloween?
Yeah, it says Batman: The Long Halloween.
Oh, okay. So yeah, this dude, he's
he was Lex Luthor or something like that. I don't know. He's like some bald dude in that one. I haven't seen that one.
Hey,
that one out.
Hey Vince, we got Lisa in the comment section, and she said it's an unfair comparison. And I wish she was here because I would love to hear why this is an unfair comparison. When that's all we do. That's all we do is compare DC and Marvel forever and ever. So I don't know why it would be an unfair comparison when DC finally actually has a movie that's better than Marvel. Like, think about this. Think about this. We've been comparing Marvel and DC from the jump, and Marvel is 130-0. Finally, DC gets some headway and has a better rollout than a Marvel movie, and it's now an unfair comparison.
No, I don't think Lisa's saying that comparing Marvel and DC is unfair. I think what she's saying is that Black Widow is like a spy thriller,
right?
And Suicide Squad is an action comedy.
Yeah.
So just they're 2 different types of movies. I don't have any problem with the comparison, but I think that's what Lisa's trying to get at. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa, but just 2 different genres of movies.
Again, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter about that because again, we're trying to excuse the fact that Marvel and DC are compared every time they drop a movie. So the idea that she was explaining this or she was saying that, it doesn't matter. It's it's a DC movie and a Marvel movie. They are always going to be linked at the hip. As a matter of fact,
no, what I'm saying is, I
know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
No, that's the fair part of the comparison. Absolutely. Like I think, but I'm saying
the genres are completely different.
Yeah, it's a different genre.
But trying to say the genres are completely different.
What the fuck? What matter? Are you serious?
Genre really trying to excuse this. Like it.
I'm not excusing it. I'm just like halfway agreeing with Lisa and halfway. I'm being in the middle right now. I'm being okay.
This is one of those situations where it's not a matter of whether one thing is right or wrong. It's 2 different things being the case. Yes, they're different genres of movie, but yes, they're also comic book movies. So like comparing them as comic book movies, you could say Suicide Squad was more fun. I enjoyed it more. Like I had a better time watching it. Comparing like the genres, action comedy versus spy thriller, they both did a really good job with what they were doing. And I think that's where the comparison is. Like it's not whether you can or can't. I think there's different areas where you can.
But just remember, you two didn't like Black Widow, so like this argument is non-valid. It's like bias at this point.
No.
Yeah, bro. I mean, we gotta have an opinion about everything. What are you talking about? I was biased. Yo, first of all,
I'm just saying this argument with Lisa is biased. That's all I'm saying. This argument with Lisa
is biased for her because her comment says don't.
And she and I and Tyrone did, and we're agreeing and not agreeing with all y'all. So,
right, Lisa. First of all, we love you, but fuck you for always doing this to us and never coming on the show because you work on Saturday. God. Number one. Number two, Lisa's biased as fuck. She says in the comment, "Don't come for my girl." She's already leaning towards Black Widow. Yes. She's already a fangirl. So her whole opinion and this being not something that's biased is bullshit. And this.
Oh my God!
Genres. We're talking about comic book movies. That's the genre. The genre is that it's a comic book movie. They both were released on streaming services and in the movies at the same time. Go ahead. Yeah, my bad.
Question, Lisa. If we send you a link real quick, will you hop in?
No, she's not.
We can't wait for the answer. It might be a minute.
She's working right now, so she can't. If she shows up on here, then they're gonna know that she doesn't really work. It's gonna have like legit proof.
And Lisa, I love you, Lisa. I love you. You're the best. But you gotta stop because you're gonna keep.
Oh my God! What the heck?
It keeps going. Now you're gonna say if you're comparing movies, you're gonna have to compare Black Widow to maybe Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey came out years ago. We're gonna compare a movie that came out years ago to a movie that just came out.
Because they're women leads. Is that what it is? Are you misogynistic? Like, why don't we compare Black Widow to Black Panther since they both have black in the name, or maybe Black Widow?
I think more it was like a backstory aspect. Like if you think about it, the Black Widow movie was a backstory aspect. The Birds of Prey was the backstory aspect. So that might be what.
Give me a fucking break,
yo. If y'all don't stop,
give me a fucking break.
Yes, keeps on trying to help her too. She's like.
I get the
I think it's a bunch of bullshit.
Like the fuck, okay. even if she's wrong, I'm gonna agree.
Women code, girl code.
All right, fair enough. And we love Lisa. And we love Jessica. Jessica's commenting a lot. Appreciate you, Jessica, man. Appreciate it. We always love the feedback. Sure. But let's just be clear. You can compare any movie to any movie. There's no fair justifiability. We can compare any movie, and anytime, like Tylene says, there's a DC movie, you're automatically by law going to compare it to a Marvel movie because we're hoping that DC and Marvel are like two major political parties. We need two very strong ones to have a good comic book universe to exist in, and we're rooting for DC to do well. I'm gleeful that this movie doesn't suck. I'm so happy that it doesn't suck. I need Black Adam to not suck. I need all of these movies to be dope. I need them to come into their own. I need Blue Beetle to be dope as hell. I need the Titans, all of that shit, because we don't want to rely just on Marvel. And even after that, I want the off brands to come out. I need some of the Dark Horse comics to get mainstream. I need the Black Sands comics to get mainstream. So it's not a matter of whether or not we're comparing these two movies. One is being an action comedy and the other one is more of a spy. These are two comic book movies from two major comic book franchises. And one of them was released not too long ago. All right. And the other one was released yesterday. Both were released simultaneously in the theaters and on the streaming sites. So that's what the comparison is, and best believe that's what the folks that are looking at the number of streams, the box office sales, that's what they're comparing it to. They're not like, well, Black Widow, it was a backstory, what I mean? They're like, look, this shit did this much money. DC put out a movie that did this much money. Comparably, they doing better, you know what I'm saying? And typically to make that much money, you need good reviews from a place like Rotten Tomatoes. So whether or not one is less humorous and more action-based and more biographical, and another one is more team-related and more humorous and more vulgar. It doesn't matter. They both had those choices because the person who made Black Widow could have easily made it like Suicide Squad if they wanted to, and Suicide Squad vice versa. So that's their decision to make it in that quote-unquote genre. I'm sorry, I'm calm. My bad.
I do want to point out real quick that was the first time box office numbers were mentioned, just to be above board. Nobody mentioned box office until that moment while we were,
who mentioned box office numbers?
Interested.
Yeah.
I did.
You said box office numbers?
Yeah, and that was the first time it was mentioned. But but very well, that is going to be a really good way to compare the two movies because like you said, very similar situations. And I don't know if we have box office numbers yet, but I guess we will probably in a couple of days. And it'll be really, really interesting to see, who had that stronger first weekend for sure.
Well, I will say this: I don't know necessarily that it's fair because the difference, it's a very slight difference. The slight difference is that Disney Plus is charging you $30, and HBO Max is charging you $14.99 and saying, "Hey, you only had to pay one time."
Actually, Disney Plus is charging you like $15 a month, and on top of that, you have to pay for the $30 movie that ends up being $35 for the movie. So,
you're right. Yeah.
Whoa. $15 a month?
Okay, no, it might be less than that, but if you have it linked with stuff, you know what I'm saying? You can get
all
that shit. You can get it linked.
Yeah, it's got the bundle.
Yes.
But really, what I wanted to say earlier when you were talking about DC and Marvel and DC is like they're like big brother, little brother, and it's like DC is like the little brother that sneaks into his brother's room, and steals his clothes and wears them, and then like goes to school and then brings it and puts it back in the closet without knowing. And the reason I say that is because we watched a full movie of Suicide Squad 2, and nobody said anything about Jotunheim. The fact that the place that like I don't know if how
it
far
was in Asgard. It's Jotunheim, yeah.
Well, yeah. But my point is like in the movie, the place that they're trying to go to throughout the whole movie is Jotunheim, and this is one of the things that DC and Marvel have been doing for ages. Stealing your shit, wearing it to school, getting props for it, and then putting this shit back in the closet like I never fucking had it. And that is exactly what we're seeing now. That DC is like, okay, we tried our way. We tried our way. That shit's not working. Let's try how Big Brother's doing it. Big Brother's doing, but we might add a little sex. We might make ours a little spicier. But let's try and do something like Big Brother and see if that kind of resonates with people a little bit.
I love that analogy. The only thing that I would change about it is I would say DC is the big brother that's jealous of the little brother, because DC, remember, came out before Marvel. Like DC was first. Technically, you wanted to, you could say Marvel is wearing DC's clothes because DC was actually out before Marvel. If I'm not mistaken, I think Stan Lee left DC. Or he left some. I don't remember. I don't want to misquote that. But I think that there was some sort of collaboration between him and DC, and then he actually branched off and became a Marvel. Just the face of Marvel. But yeah, it is like when your little brother is cooler. You know what I'm saying? And you were the one in the band, and he's the one on the basketball team. And now you're like, well, damn, maybe I can get on the basketball team, even though I'm a senior and he's a sophomore. But as long as I still got the moves, I do see the comparison. But DC in this particular instance, I think we actually picked the right outfit to rock because, I mean, listen, Marvel has not, even in its most, I'd say, most explicit movie, which is Deadpool, has yet to really go like that dark. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, because they're owned by Disney now too, so they have to keep that in mind. But they have yet to really they killed.
I will say that you did see Burning Dick in Deadpool in the first Deadpool.
We did. Oh,
yeah, when he was when Wade got all burnt up.
Yeah,
I mean, they showed Dick. I mean, it was crispy, but they showed it.
Oh my God.
Hey man, that's crispy Dick we talking about, man. Like, yo,
how you like your Dick? Well done. I'll take. I don't think that we're gonna see. Have we seen nudity, full frontal, upper torso in any Marvel movie? Should we expect to see anything like that? Is that the leg up that DC has on Marvel? Is they don't have, they're not tied to a magical franchise that lives in a castle with talking animals. Like they have the free reign with HBO Max and just their whole franchise. Even I mean, look, DC's breakout character is called Dark Knight. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's one of its major, characters is from a dark universe. I mean, it's almost the invention of an anti-hero. So it seems like it would be right for DC to capitalize on the free reign that they have with the explicit content that they put out, because that's something that I think Marvel will have a lot of trouble trying to follow. Even in a Deadpool 3 movie, like now Marvel, listen, if you want to, throw some nipples on the screen, to go ahead and fire back at DC, I don't think Talib's gonna be mad. You know what I'm saying? So
free the nipple.
Well, actually, you know what? I'm actually gonna add another dick to the conversation, because even in Deadpool 2, we saw Wade's baby dick.
Oh God, that's right.
Yeah. So
right.
So here's the thing, and so I don't think that I've never watched a Marvel movie and been like, that was really good, but man, if there were just like some titties or some dicks, I would have just been next level. You know what I mean? Like, I've never missed it. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it's going to be something that will continue to make to put DC on a higher level or anything, or even really raise the level at all. It's funny. It's fun to see. You know what I mean? Like it's surprising or whatever. And I think it'll be something that as the more you see it, you're like, I guess this is just going to be DC's thing now. But I don't think we're that Marvel's over there like, hey, we got to have this titty conversation.
I kind of agree. I kind of agree with Tyrone in that because the target audience for Marvel is children still. And for DC is really trying to target us. Right. They're like, oh, well, we're going to target the avid comic book reader from years ago who, probably was in his room jerking off to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's who their target audience is. And so to Tyrone's point, I don't think it's going to make a significant difference, or even, is like a one up for Marvel, because Marvel's still going to do what Marvel does. Now, what I do think is we won't see necessarily a titty or a multitude of dicks on Marvel's screen, but we will see, I think, a little bit more violence, because we're already kind of touching into the blood and getting a little bit of blood and shit like that. DC showed King Shark eating a head like it was barbecue chicken.
Vince hasn't seen it.
Well, I mean,
listen, yes. If you think I'm about to not talk about some of the things, Listen, we this is what we do. This is what we
like fucking
we set up for every Saturday. Vince's ass is busy. I'm sorry, but we are not gonna stop the show because Vince's ass didn't want to get on board when he was told to get on board.
All right. You know what?
The villain of this movie, though, I thought was a pretty smart twist.
Oh yeah, and I guess we're talking about Peter Capaldi with the pins in his head. Okay. Not the villain. Oh wow. Okay, so I don't. All right. Well then I don't even know. Then don't even tell me. That's why I haven't even gotten that far. So that's dope. I mean, I don't know if y'all know Peter Capaldi, but he was Doctor Who for 2 seasons. So it was kind of dope to see him in the movie.
He was good too.
I wouldn't get too attached to his characters.
Oh well, great. Yeah, I'm sure I can't foreshadow what the fuck you're saying there. All right, have a cool.
Yeah, it's just the person who goes spoiler alert and immediately spoil something.
Yeah,
I'm trying to pull Vince right now. See?
Damn. All right. Well, anyway, but Ty brings up a really good point, though. And this is something that I'm eager to see what we end up learning when we look at the numbers at the end of this weekend. because they're going to want to compare the streams. They're going to want to compare the box office sales. And with Disney charging an additional, we're charging $30. And I think that's $30 on top of the monthly subscription.
That is correct.
Then you're obviously, just based on what I would consider, common sense, you probably see more people watching it on HBO Max because they don't have to worry about upgrading to premium just to be able to watch it. So I would guess that DC will win on all of these fronts. I would also assume that maybe because of that, less people will go see it in the theaters too. You know what I'm saying? Because it's more accessible. And it's kind of like Marvel is basically doing pay-per-view for their movies when it comes to their releases. I mean, you still have to pay to see it. Like right now, Cruella, you still got to pay to see Cruella on Disney. Now I know Fire Stick is out there, and I know it's been unlocked, but I mean it stuff like that is a little infuriating. You know what I mean? Because you're like, yo, bro, like that movie came out like months ago. You know what I'm saying?
And they won't even let you see it until after like October or whatever it's gonna be.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
wait 3.5 months.
You kids are so entitled these days. Back in my day, I used to have to walk to the movie theater uphill both ways and give the person through the window a nickel and be like, I want 5 tickets to the movie. And I used to have to pay 7 cents for a large popcorn. And you're just like, give me my movie. I want my movie right now. I need it now.
You know what's funny about us talking about this is because this is why I wanted to make sure that Suicide Squad 2 gets its flowers. Is because the more and more we promote this DC movie and show that DC is capable, it raises the stakes for Marvel. So like competition is what's going to breed equality over the board. So if DC can put together a good Black Adam movie, which we're looking forward to, if they can put together a good Black Adam movie and then come back with maybe something in the Batman movie, then we may start saying, okay, maybe DC is figured it out. Now look, Marvel, you guys gonna have to step up your game, and that $30 thing may just dissipate. They might be like, okay, we need to take a step back and look at what we got.
I mean, $15 would be okay. I would definitely be inclined to be paying that, but $30.
Don't say that. Yes, we want them not to charge us shit.
I feel you, but I'm just saying, like, who the fuck was sitting in their goddamn comfy fucking chair at Disney and was like, let's just charge these motherfuckers $30 every time they want to watch their shit premium. Like, fuck it, let's just do it. $30 sounds good, right?
It was Vince Taylor's variant. He was
yo! Don't you put that evil on
me? He said, if these motherfuckers want to stay home, charge them $30 goddamn dollars. That's what you do. And they was like, you know what, Vince? This is why we hired you.
Oh my god! That's
so funny. So there it is.
Whatever, man. I don't get any of that either. But I will say that DC is on a roll right now if they can keep up the momentum that they got from because I mean they had to wipe off the stink of Wonder Woman. They had to wipe off the stink of that last Justice League. Some people didn't like the Justice League Snyder cut, which is I don't know who that would be. You know what I'm saying?
That's me, Tyrone.
Some people, for whatever reason, didn't like the Snyder cut. But I think that they're on a roll. But frankly, I think that this is the pathway to catching up to Marvel, is capitalizing on the off-brand characters. Stop feeding us and force feeding us new Supermans, new Batmans. There's a reason why Aquaman, despite the movie, in my opinion, being trash, I thought the movie was terrible. I thought the movie, I mean, look, I like Jason Momoa as much as the next bitch. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not like sitting here like, falling over that movie because he can't act for shit. I just think that he was able to change the image of Aquaman, because Aquaman in the comics was a blue-eyed, blonde-haired dude. He looked more like Ryan Gosling in the comics than he does like Jason Momoa. But Jason Momoa kind of masculined him up and shit. So I thought that was cool. But the script was still terrible. Then Wonder Woman 2 didn't help. So like right now, if you notice, if you take those characters away, but you leave Shazam, you leave Titans, you leave Suicide Squad, then DC is not doing that bad when it comes to the characters that are not always at the forefront, you know? And so that's what I hope that they get from this is like, yo, look, we do not have to use just the Fantastic Four, Superman, Batman, Aquaman, and Flash. You know, we don't have to always use them. And again, I still think the public is begging for a Cyborg movie. So DC, take note, Brad. Like, yo, give us something else, and people will like it and make it good too. And I think that's what they've done with Suicide Squad.
I would add on to that a little bit, Vince, because I don't necessarily agree with you that they need to stop pushing their main characters out. I just think that what this showed us is good directing is key to good movies. Period. Kevin Feige came over to Marvel. What do we got? A whole lot of success. James Gunn, we already knew was a very good director, and he just came and showed up and showed out again. So what we saw, DC, because I don't want y'all to fuck this up and make it more complex than it has to be, is hire the right people for the job. Period. That's simple. Push out Flash, push out Superman, push out all of the people that all of the main characters that we've grown to love over the history of comics.
Right.
And just get the right people to come in and do the right scripts and write the right storylines. It's that simple. It's not rocket science. It's that simple.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that because let's not forget how this movie came about, right? Like this was not some fierce brainstorming that came from the corporate offices that said, you know what, guys, we should hire James Gunn. He's a phenomenal writer and director. No, James Gunn was canceled for making jokes on Twitter about boys peeing on him from way long ago that were brought back to him, back to the public's attention, which made folks try to fire him from the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, of which you remember Drax was like, look, if you fire him, I'm out. Like, he stuck up for him. They fired him anyway. You know, it was a whole debacle about it. We didn't know whether or not there was going to be another Guardians of the Galaxy. James Gunn ends up saying, you know what, fuck y'all. I'm going to take my talents to South Beach, goes over to DC, creates this movie out of spite, if you ask me, and wants to create something that makes Marvel say, okay, you're gonna learn today that just because I can make some stupid ass tweets don't mean that I can make a dope ass movie. Now, amidst this controversy, James Gunn ends up being re-welcomed back into the Marvel universe, probably because people started to get a whiff of how good the movie was about to be. When they heard that King Shark and Weasel was gonna be on the set, it was like, yo, man, I don't know, bro. This dude's doing some crazy shit over there. And Idris Elba, he took him down. You know what I'm saying? He took two Marvel characters with him. One of them's from the Guardians of the Galaxy. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, are you seeing what, you know, do you see this? You know what I'm saying? Like, and so now they're like, all right, hold on, man. We want our boyfriend back. And they holler back at James Gunn. Now, James Gunn is once again directing Guardians of the Galaxy 3. But this happened because of controversy. So I don't know if I'm ready to give DC all this credit because this kind of fell into their lap, so to speak. You know what I mean? We could have been this close to being a Joss Whedon Suicide Squad. That's true. You know, so look, man, sometimes you know, you never really can tell what is going to truly benefit a movie. And in this case, his Trickle P tweets about him, you know, getting peed on in a shower that didn't have a lot of water pressure.
And DC is always like, I'm gonna take whatever Marvel don't want. So,
bruh, and seems like he did it well.
I told you the big brother, little brother analogy is in full effect, and I still feel like DC is the little brother because you only take shit out your brother's closet if it's hot. You don't take the ugly shit. So your brother has made his closet very elaborate, and now when you go into that closet, you like, ooh,
yeah.
So DC has been around longer, but Marvel made that shit better. Just period.
Yeah.
And because of that, they took over the role of Big Brother, and DC is still back here, in a Big Brother's closet. So hopefully one of those outfits you can get away with stealing and he won't notice it's gone. It's that simple. So here we are with James Gunn. There you go.
James, do you think that is there any word? Does anybody have any word as to whether or not they're talking about a Suicide Squad 3 and if James Gunn is attached to that project, or is James Gunn going to be attached to any more projects? It seems like Marvel and DC have been doing a good job of keeping their directors and writers exclusive to their franchises, with the exception of James Gunn. Like, you don't see Kevin Feige jumping over to do a DC. You don't see Christopher Nolan jumping over to do, Marvel stuff. So, James Gunn's one of the few who kind of crossed the streams and straddled the fence. Ty, what was you about to say? You got some intel on that?
Well, I was gonna say, based on the fact that you haven't seen the whole movie, the setup is there.
Yep.
The setup for a part 3 is there. Now all I believe DC is going to do, because unlike Marvel usually already has some shit predetermined, regardless. Right. Like, they already have their movies that they're gonna line up, regardless of the success or lack thereof of success. It doesn't matter. DC's a little bit different, because DC's like, we're so used to disappointment and not being successful, that let's just see how this goes. And I believe they like James Gunn was like, look, y'all aren't familiar with me, but I'm gonna let y'all know who I am. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this out there and make this a possibility, and I'll just let y'all let it unfold and see how it plays out. And I think, if we're all being honest again, this was DC's one of DC's best works, hands down. And I do believe that there will be people that are like, yo, I want to see another Suicide Squad. I want to see another Suicide Squad. I don't know about you, Yaz, but I actually really fell in love with his character, and her as an actress.
The girl, like you fell in love with, like, the girl with the rat.
The rat girl.
Yes, I liked her.
No, that was not who I was gonna say.
Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn. This movie for me really cemented her as not like she was good in Birds of Prey, but this for me cemented her as Harley Quinn.
Oh yeah,
like, there's no question that she kills that character, and when you think of Harley Quinn, all you can think of is this actress.
It's Margot Robbie.
Margot, she kills it.
I agree.
Kills it.
100%. I agree.
Why? Yes.
I think my favorite scene, like, of this movie was, like, her escape.
Hey!
I didn't go into it.
My bad. Go ahead.
I just said I think my favorite movie was her escape. That was like that's my favorite part. Like, she killed that whole scene. Like, I can't with her. She's amazing at her character. You'll see it, Vince. Don't worry.
Yeah. So Vince, whenever they catch her, just know she's gonna just know she's getting away. So don't feel bad when they catch her.
All right. Well, I mean,
see, I didn't go that bad. Okay, mine was like,
nah. I know what you're talking about. I think I've gotten past that scene already. So I mean, so I think I'm okay with that. But yeah, I mean, listen, I think that this movie has given me more hope for the Harley Quinn character. I still think that they did Harley Quinn wrong, though. I think that Harley Quinn was kind of treated like a cast member when she should have been given a standalone solo movie. I don't think she should have to pay a supporting member. You can move these now. That's cool. I thought that she done a good job of portraying the character itself, but I think that they rushed through her backstory in Birds of Prey. In Suicide Squad 1, and they kind of got into it a little bit more in Birds of Prey. But her freaking backstory is phenomenal. I still think that they have room to do it. Like,
oh yeah,
I mean, she's not just some psycho bitch. You know what I'm saying? This is a well-educated, decorated doctor. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? who falls into a, shall we say, kind of some sort of
obsessed relationship.
Yeah. She gets Stockholm syndrome a little bit with one of her patients, and decides to completely turn over her life. You're talking about good girl gone bad, and yeah, I think Margot Robbie does do a good job of portraying her. But I think that they for me, as much as it's dope to see her portrayed on the screen, I do think she's a little too
spit it out.
Human, too funny, too human, less dark, more entertaining. You know,
with a fucking jokester. Like,
no, it's like I actually agree with Vince here. I think DC has missed out on some of the best parts of Harley Quinn's character, and yeah, because she's always been funny, but yeah, there was like, she was more psychopathic, less funny. When as we were introduced to her, like the relationship between her and Joker and kind of how she became Harley Quinn is some of the most interesting stuff. But they've just kind of like, they're like, here's a quick overview, here's a quick recap, and now we'll get to her, doing Harley Quinn things, which is like, again, like she does great, and it's nothing on Margot Robbie or anything like that, or even to this point, like the directors of the movies or anything. This was a decision that they made in the first Suicide Squad, and I think it was the wrong decision that ultimately we missed out on some good Harley Quinn story because of.
I got you.
I agree with that, but I disagree with the fact that they don't like in this movie. One of the things that's why I said I really love her character is they do play to the psychopathic part of her mindset, because she falls in love for a moment.
Yep.
And for a brief moment,
and then she killed his ass.
And in that moment, in that moment, I be trying to be subtle, but all right, cool.
Yes, has a very specific form of Tourette's. It's she only spoils movies when everybody around her is trying not to.
Vince, I mean, I'm sorry.
It ain't me, y'all. It ain't me this time, man. It ain't me. It's your girl. Anyway, finish what you were saying, Ty, if you can.
I'll try. So
it's okay. Yeah.
So in that moment, when we see this, real romantic love moment and everything like that, her psychosis or is basically shown by her lack thereof in emotion. Mm-hmm. So like if you kill someone who you love, there will be some type of emotional, response. Hers was more like, you said something that triggered me.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Well, and I agree. Like, she does a great job with the character, and she has killed it since the beginning with with the story elements and everything that she's been given. I'm just putting this one on DC for like not giving us like a really good crucial part of her story. Like, I really wish I could have seen Margot Robbie show that part more. And not to say that anything is not to say what she's doing is lacking because of it. Mm-hmm. I just wish that they that early on they made better decisions so we could have more of this character.
And I think we will get more of this character, Tyrone. I agree with you that they should have done it a certain way, but we know that DC has always had two left feet, and this is kind of, I'm glad that they did it, because all they would have done is made us not like her at some point. We would have been like, oh, I loved her at first, and then these couple of trash movies that they did, I'm just over it. So I'm glad that they didn't. What they did do is something that I always speak about, which is put fillers out there and allow people to fall in love with characters. And then if the buzz for that character is large enough, you create an origin story or go back and talk about their backstory a little bit more. So I think now that you have James Gunn in the DC EU, you know what I'm saying, and you see that he's had success with this, you can do a spinoff and do something with Harley. But we also have to realize that the reason that she's dumbed down is because she's in custody, y'all.
Yeah.
She is still in custody with a chip in the back of her neck that at any point in time, this Waller can push the button and blow your damn head up. So as insane as she is, she still deals in the realm of reality, in most cases.
And
go ahead.
They did touch also, like, when in the first part of the movie, when she gets into the helicopter, she's like, "Hey guys, sorry, had to do number 2." Like they did specify also that she was back in jail, so she was released.
Yeah, they were released only for their missions,
right? Well, she was released. Like I don't know if that means like released out of jail, because she said she got road rage in a bank.
I see what you're saying. So she wasn't being held captive.
Exactly.
She was voluntarily. You think she was volunteering her services?
Oh yeah, that's right. Because
I think remember she in the first movie, if you guys remember, she escaped.
Yeah, their things were deactivated.
That is true. That is true.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, she escaped, right? And we didn't get any backstory or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta remember, she was the one that was the special, the wild card. Yeah, exactly. So they literally touched on that too when she popped up out of nowhere, because everyone was ready to go set. They got everyone out of prison. Remember, they went, you know what I'm saying, to different spots. Was like, "You ready? Let's go!" And then they all went there. You know what I'm saying? So then when she showed up, it was out of nowhere, and she didn't have any chains or anything. She's like, "Hey guys, had to go number 2. Sorry, I'm late." You know what I'm saying? And they're like, "Oh, Harley, nice to see you again. Why are you back in the joint? Why are you back locked up?" She's like, "Oh, I got road rage in a bank." Like, what? Who the fuck?
Yeah. Well, here's what I think. I think this is what me and Tyrone are saying, is that at no fault of Margot Robbie's own, DC has decided to give us an Adam West-ish type of character, where we're looking for a Christopher Nolan Dark Knight type of. We want Heath Ledger Joker, not Joker from Batman. And it feels like this Harley Quinn is kind of Batman. You know what I'm saying? I want Heath Ledger Harley Quinn. You know what I'm saying? I want psychotic, funny, but freaky, want to see me do a magic trick? I'm gonna make this pencil disappear.
To what Ty was saying, though, that's what he was saying. They probably didn't do that because they would have fucked it up. You know what I'm saying? And they're waiting. There's many moments in these movies. You know what I'm saying? Where they can have a moment where she starts going fucking crazy again. You know what I'm saying? Then back into her Joker thing. And then remember, she's a psychiatrist, so she knows how to heal herself and go back to, you know what I'm saying, normal reality. You have to remember that too. So they could also touch really they could really big touch on this an all basis really soon. You know what I'm saying? Now that we have this development with her, now that we're more falling in love with the character that she is portraying, you know what I'm saying? Because she did give us a little bit of like Ty was saying, Harley Quinn vibes, you know what I'm saying, in the movie. She even said, I'm not that dumb, mother. You got to watch it, you know what I'm saying? But it's just, there's so much they can do with her character, and I think she embodies her really well. I agree with Ty.
I think you saw this part because I'm based on your timestamp in the movie.
He said 20 minutes.
Okay, so you may have seen this part. Did you ever you got to see the guy with the staff, right?
Yeah, the dude with the javelin.
With the javelin, right?
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, in the first
what? What he was gonna say? What was he
gonna say? Yeah, that part. That's the part that I thought shows her level of psychosis, because if you look at her at that moment, she's like, oh, and she's like, and then she's like, slap him. She slaps him. He's dead. What did you do with it? Why does he not say it? And this is all immense, in the moment where she's surrounded by dudes with guns.
Yep.
And
then she's like, wait, he was gonna say something.
Yeah. But that goes again to my not complaint but critique about it. She's low key comic relief, and I don't listen. The Joker, and again, I know that she's not the Joker. I know she's kind of the Joker's sidekick. That's a comedian that I know, Patty. What is his name? Patty. Hawkins. He has this great bit where he talks about he writes himself a letter from the future to himself in the past, and he talks about how Harley Quinn is now all the shit now, which is kind of like Batman's belt being more popular than Batman, you know what I'm saying? And he goes into like it's just this weird universe where like the sidekicks are now becoming the fourth, you know, and that's cool. But let's just keep it real, like Harley Quinn's character is based on the Joker, right? I mean, Harley Quinn would not exist had there been no Joker. She's influenced by the Joker. She's psychotic. She went to be just as mad as him, depending on which version you read. She exposed herself to toxins so that she could be just as mad as the Joker. So when I think about Harley Quinn, I think more Joker, less humor. You know, let's keep it real. The irony of the Joker's name being the Joker is that he's not really. I mean, they went into it in the Kill Joke and with the Joker movie that he was a stand-up comedian, but he was a failed stand-up comedian. He wasn't really funny. You know what I'm saying? So with Harley Quinn kind of picking up the mantle of comic relief, it takes away from that dark side that I want to see from that character. Like I want to see Harley Quinn when she does, you know, whatever with the man that she falls in love with. Let's not forget, Ty, that she was like, well, you said something kind of, you know, I promised myself that, you know, if my boyfriend or whatever says something, and you said something about kids, like the fact that she gives a fuck about kids being harmed.
So you saw that part. You saw that part.
I did, yeah, I saw it. I got that far.
Well past 20 minutes, sir.
Well, yeah,
yes, you are hereby exonerated. For
yeah, you are.
Sorry, everybody.
Yo, I'm glad it wasn't just me because Tyrone was over there. Tyrone had to pay. He's not like me. He don't show it as much, but he was like, like that shit was like a good hour in.
That was not. That was early on.
An hour, bro.
No, that was not. It was like an hour. I'm looking at the time. It was like 36 minutes in. It's like 36 minutes. Y'all tripping. Y'all need to go watch it again, man. Y'all might have a conception of the timestamps of the movie, but who knows? We'll justify that later. The fact of the matter is, I'm hoping that they still have room. Look. They did, look at the evolution of on-screen Batman, right? Michael Keaton, dark, not very humorous, consistent, ends up being still to this day heralded as potentially the very best Batman that we had, short of Christian Bale. All right. Then they go Val Kilmer, George Clooney, you know what I'm saying? Then they go Christopher Nolan finally. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Wait, wasn't there one before that?
No, after Clooney, Christian Bale was the next one.
Yeah, Christian Bale. Yeah. Christian Bale. It was Val, George, and George like gets zero. I think that's not even on his IMDb. Like he doesn't want those nipples all over his record. You know what I'm saying?
That shit either.
That shit was trash.
Yeah, it was very bad. I mean,
trash.
Yo, and wow, even Christopher. Anyway, so I think that if they're going to stick with Harley Quinn as Margot Robbie,
there's no if.
Yeah,
there's definitely not an if. There's definitely not an if. She is like if you want to make a comparison for her, because right now, especially after this movie, I would dare say right now she's probably other than Henry Cavill, because Henry Cavill is just polarizing. But besides Henry Cavill, she might be the biggest star in the DCEU right now. Yeah,
ooh.
Yeah, she's definitely. First of all, the appeal and the fan appeal that she gives. Granted, I totally get why you're saying the things that you're saying, because you're basing it on comic book. So right. I totally get what it is. But what we've seen and what we've critiqued here on the show is when DC has tried to be serious, we find it funny because the shit just doesn't translate. So you're like, you attempted, and it becomes a joke. So maybe they're just like, okay, let's live our truth. Let's live in our truth.
Right.
We can't do serious.
Right.
Let's do funny. Even if we're not trying to do it, it's gonna work. So I'm really glad that they brought James Gunn in. I cannot say this enough. DC, the formula is simple. Hire the right people for the job.
Right.
that easy. It's that easy, man. So I really would. And again, I think that they will come out with a Harley Quinn movie at some point. Yeah. And if they use James Gunn, just get ready, because James Gunn is popping out with dicks and titties. You can only imagine what's next. You can only imagine what's next. So I'm just
I mean, how much worse? What are we? Full asshole? Where are we going? Like, where
we might. I mean, bro, he showed that he is not scared to do whatever. He was like, listen, bro, they would like. I just couldn't. When I was watching this, to watch King Shark devour people, like literally, like, you know how most times you see the King Shark in most DC reels and stuff that we've seen. He'll bring the person up, and then they'll pan the camera, and then his body's gone. Then the body's gone. You hear him maybe later. But no, we full on saw him devouring. He had a head in his mouth, and he was literally like in his teeth like barbecue chicken. He was over there like, like with a head, with a human head. So man. We're there. Right. We're there.
Hopefully that 3 seconds doesn't get us canceled, man. I couldn't resist, man, putting that shark up there, man. But yeah, man. All right, look, there's definitely whatever I want to say about Harley Quinn. The Harley Quinn version that they have works for Suicide Squad. All right, it's a good fit. I'm not going to debate that. It makes sense in the movie, especially. And my beef isn't even with that. It's just that they hopefully do recognize what they have in that when you do take a character like that and go darker, it's more popular. All right. I mean, it's just fact in DC territory. I mean, you take Adam West, fast forward to Michael Keaton, you're like, holy shit, that was way more successful. You take the Joker, even with Jack Nicholson, and put on Heath Ledger, and he's hella dark. Everybody loves him even more. Look, take freaking Dick Grayson, all right, from Teen Titans, and put on and look at Titan now as Nightwing in the Titans. The darker you go with these characters, the better they get. Look at Watchmen, you know what I'm saying, with Dr. Manhattan, the comedian. The darker you go, DC, with the character, the more successful they are. At least I think the more appealing they are.
I would say that you're right and you're wrong, because it's not so much that the darker you go, it's the casting, it's who you cast. Heath Ledger was a great Joker because he fucking killed the role. It wasn't because he was so dark. It was because he fucking made us really feel like this is the Joker. Like, yo, so that and the same thing goes for Joaquin. When he played the Joker. It's about casting and it's about directing. These movies, it doesn't matter what movie it is. If you have a good director and a good cast, you have success. Mm-hmm. It equates to success. This is, again, not rocket science. This is all stuff that we've seen happen consistently. So if they just stick to that and stop trying to make it harder and more complex, then just stick to what Marvel's been doing, which is hiring good directors, hiring good cast. That's pretty much it. DC is going to be successful. The first thing you said as soon as this show started was Idris Elba made us forget completely about Will Smith. Yeah. So it comes down to who you cast and how you're directing those films. And if they stick with James Gunn, which I honestly, if I'm DC and knowing the desperation that as a organization we have, James Gunn is doing every movie that we have from this point. We're firing people that already started movies for us and bringing James Gunn in to finish the movie. Like, that's what I would do.
Well, he's booked up for the next couple of years, so they're kind of screwed on that one.
Yeah,
he's booked up for the next couple of years.
Yeah, we've got the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special coming out, and then Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which will come out. I think that's 2023. I think. Mm-hmm. So like he's going to be booked up for a little while. So DC is going to if DC is trying to capitalize on Suicide Squad type success, then they got to hope that energy sticks around for a couple of years and that they don't ruin it with another, piece of garbage.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to read and see whether or not James Gunn is coming back. I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah, there haven't been any announcements about Suicide Squad or Harley Quinn or anything in regards to anybody involved with that movie yet. Like Ty was talking about earlier, I think they're probably just kind of, going to wait it out, see if it's something that there's an appetite for. And then I wouldn't be surprised if the Suicide Squad became sort of this anthology type movie where different directors come in and give their take on it. You know what I mean? Like they hire a hot director to come in and do their take on it. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened, because they're not connecting anything. They're not even trying to do sequels or prequels or anything like that. They're just
they connected it a little bit. I mean, it's
very,
I mean, we still had people from the previous
but even then, like they were out, like when they were doing press junkets and stuff like that, they were out there talking about how this is a standalone thing and that it's it's not a sequel, and like they were very clear, like open, and that was part of what they considered part of the appeal of the movie. They were out there like not billing it as a sequel at all.
Well, it makes sense. It makes sense, Tyrone, when you don't want to attach yourself to shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and that's kind of what you were saying. You were like, the first one was shit. It was like, it was just, so if I'm trying to, garner success, I'm not going to attach my name to some shit that was already fucking terrible. I'm going to be like, no, even though we have the same fucking name and it's part 2. And
they don't even put 2. Like all they did was they put the in the title. That's all. That's what they did to separate it. They put the, like, Suicide Squad. This one was the Suicide Squad. Like that's it. Like they even put it. They didn't even put a 2 in the word the, like they like to do in movies and stuff. That's just straight up the. Yeah, so but I think that they were smart for it, and I wouldn't be surprised to see more Suicide Squad happen that way when it does, if or when it does happen. I think it'll be some random director, a bunch of random characters, and will be might be another fun one.
And I will say this: I don't want James Gunn to keep on with this angry black woman shit that he's doing on, because he made Amanda Waller like tier 1 Karen in like I don't turn around, I said turn around. Oh, like you got everybody in the office like, what the fuck is that? Like, yo, you had to have a chick. Like, you missed that part, so I ain't gonna do that.
Yeah, I hold that down. Well, I think DC would be better to secure James, but I honestly don't know if those checks clear the same, if they're the same numbers on them. Marvel checks, I mean, there's only one out of those 2 mainstream comic book franchises that has a whole world dedicated to it, and not only Universal Studios, but at Disney as well. Like, Marvel is at Disney and Universal, bro. Like, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, have you thought about that? Like, they're owned by Disney World. They're owned by Disney Studios. But if you go to Universal Studios, there's Spider-Man rides, the Hulk. You know what I'm saying? Like, so DC,
the Doom ride.
I don't know if it's still going to be the same check.
DC is Six Flags.
Is that right? It is? Okay.
They have Superman rides and Mr. Freeze.
Oh, yeah, because it's Warner Brothers.
Batman,
yeah. And I was about to say, Vince, don't get it twisted. That Warner Brothers money is just as long as Disney money.
Yeah.
So that idea that they can't cut a check, bro, they can cut it. Remember, they put all of their movies on a streaming service for free. All of them.
That's not desperation?
No.
And HBO Max isn't free.
Listen, first of all, HBO Max is practically free when you're getting all the Warner Brother movies for free. For $14.99.
HBO Max.
Yeah, because we're back to this discussion because
it's practically free.
You hated HBO Max.
Why are you tapped with HBO Max so bad? Like,
because they're like, first of all, you're saying HBO Max with this disdain. HBO home box office before, like, because since I gotta break them down, was the leading
Yes, and scrambled porn when we were growing up. I know. Yes, indeed.
That was Cinemax. That was
Cinemax. My first Blerd through yes. It was
Emmanuel.
12 o'clock, boy, when Real Sex came on, bitch. Oh yes, I was peaked. Yeah, we gonna have that. That's a whole other conversation.
That was very educational. Stop it.
I want a couple things I want to comment on. Jessica, I agree with you that Uma and Michelle were definitely OGs in the game. I know you say you were OG, but yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer, she definitely killed it in Catwoman. I still think that Batman 2, Batman Returns, is one of the all-time best Batmans, even better than the very first Batman. I mean, I have yet to see two villains in a movie that were able to share the screen time and deliver and the scenery and the snow and and the ending and the love interest, but not being the love interest. And man, Tim Burton showed his ass. It's a shame that they thought that it went too dark and they wanted to go more friendly afterwards and went way too friendly and went Joel Schumacher route. And I'll even say the same for Uma Thurman, even though she was in a Joel Schumacher movie. She did do a good job of holding down Poison Ivy, even though again I would say Poison Ivy is a little darker and they made her a little more screen friendly.
They did it to everybody on that.
Yeah. I mean, freaking Mr. Freeze he's saying shit like chill and you know what I'm saying, and
cool out.
Even though that was part 4. Now, Lisa, just to address yours, well, Harley Quinn is based on the word Harlequin, but let's not forget the Joker is called the Joker. He's supposed to tell jokes, but that's not what we know him for either. So it's not necessarily. I get that point, and it's a good one, but it's also like just because somebody's named something, I mean, doesn't mean that they should. I frankly think that if they do move forward with, and I do highly anticipate that they will have the wherewithal to do this correctly, move forward with the standalone Harley Quinn movie, that the backstory, if they even go all the way from child, I want to see a teenaged Harley Quinn. I want to see a Harley Quinn who's like completely opposite of where she is now, who's studious, who like it has zero fun about her until she goes psychotic. You know what I'm saying? And then I want to see more psychotic, less funny, because like I said, man, even the fact that she had a heart, like the fact that she, when she took old boy, when the relationship ended, let's just say, she was like, you said something about kids, and
red flags. Yeah, I always told myself if I heard a red flag.
She's a psychiatrist, though.
Well, yeah, but she's still the psychiatrist buried deep beneath all of that psychotic. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, it's a delicate balance, and I think as I continue to watch the movie, I'm sure I won't be disappointed. But it would be nice to see, that. Now, on another note, as we kind of start wrapping up about Suicide Squad, what was your thoughts about the dynamic between these two cats? I thought it was kind of interesting how they pinned them together. I don't really know a whole heap. Oh, well, I thought I had a graphic with him and what's his name on it? Yeah, the Peacemaker. Yeah, man. But I thought that it was interesting how they paired those two up. I was reading up a little bit. I'm not as big on DC, so I had to do a little bit of research. Mm-hmm. And I was reading up on how I guess there may have been 2 blood sports. You know what I'm saying? Like there's multiple blood sports. And even though they call this dude the Peacemaker, like in the comics, I guess that he may have been another version of a blood sport or something like that. I don't know, but I thought that little relationship that they had was the well, at least as far in the 36 minutes I've seen of it, I thought it was pretty cool. And John Cena was fairly palatable as an actor. Sometimes it's too hard to see John Cena. Like I'm like, will you body slam somebody and take the belt and leave the scene already? Like, but I mean, I think he's been struggling to trying to find his Dwayne Johnson, voice. And I think this one works for him. I've always thought that John Cena would work well in a comic book realm. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think because his strength is his comedic timing and his silliness. I don't think he plays really seriously. But like, if you give him something like as silly as this character was, from the costume to just kind of like the way he was, he kind of had some Drax energy at times in this movie. So very literal and stuff like that. But I think he, this is a role where he was able to excel. He was. It was a. I liked his. I liked John Cena in this movie. I liked his character. I didn't have the reaction that Yaz had. That like, because I feel like Yaz was personally hurt by John Cena, and that's the only thing that I cannot get on board with. Yeah, how dare you?
I just didn't like his character. I don't know. Like, I didn't like the message that his character was bringing as a peacemaker, but yeah, he'd just be like, "I'll do whatever's necessary."
That's brilliant.
That was brilliant. That was the point, though. Yeah,
I know, but that rubs me so fucking wrong.
as it should.
I literally wanted to come through and just smack him, be like, "You ain't no peacemaker, nigga. Change your name."
One of the things that he stated was that set with me. He said, she said, I thought you was a peacemaker. He said, yeah, peace by any means. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like I'll get peace by any means. Again, I loved it. I loved him as a character.
Me wrong, dog. I was like, oh, by any means? Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm willing to kill as many men, women, and children as it takes to get it. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. He's just, listen. He's basically a funnier version. Oh, God. Oh,
he's the fucking Terminator.
If we get canceled, we better not have got canceled. I swear for God. I would be so mad if we did. How many Blue Bird order? No. All right. Hold on. Let me check. Somebody check online, see if we're still live. Anyway, let me see. Anybody got any notifications? I haven't gotten any. Let me see. Have we been canceled?
No, it still says live on there. It did pause for like a second for
Okay. All right. Cool. So the next thing that we was gonna bring up, man. Oh, okay. Evidently we're still live. All right. Cool.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, bet. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Sue. Thanks, faithful father. So yeah, man. The great part about this movie is it's out right now. So let's all watch it so we can come back next week and spoil it. All right, and let's hope that this is a trend that DC is starting where they're going to make good movies. And let's hope that Black Adam follows after that. But speaking of good movies, the one that I think Ty called me and was raving about, and I was like, I'm not watching that shit. I will not watch it. Was this week we got a whiff of another trailer for a movie that I am highly anticipating. The Venom trailer dropped, and there's more divulged on it, and I am scared to even talk about it. But I'm not gonna watch it. But I can already guess that it's probably dope as shit. Did anybody else watch it or not watch it? I know Ty watched it. But anybody else? Anybody have any thoughts on Venom?
Yeah, I got plenty of them.
Did you watch the trailer, Tyrone?
Yeah. So the first Venom movie, I thought they did the best job with the Venom character, visually and stuff like that. It wasn't bad. I think they did an okay job with it. It looks like this trailer makes me think they're going more the slapstick route. Like they're really diving into the comedic, which I don't know if that's a good idea with these characters. Venom is like one of the most like ruthless, violent, just most chaotic characters in Marvel, most dangerous characters. And this trailer, they had like Three Stooges bits going on. I was like, what the hell is going on with this? You know what I mean? Like it was kind of, it's kind of disappointing to see, in my opinion. I think what Sony's trying to do with Spider-Man villains is try to build up a really strong Sinister Six, and they're not doing a great job so far. So whenever they try to play hardball with the rights to Spider-Man again and try to strong arm Marvel Studios, they'll be like, well, hey, we could play hardball because we got this universe all set up, but I don't know if they're doing it right. I honestly, I'm gonna watch it, when it comes out, but
of course.
But this one, I'm not expecting much. Venom and Carnage are two of my favorite villains in Spider-Man, and I love the stories that go along with them. But this one is I'm gonna go in with like very, very low expectations and hope to enjoy it, just like I did with that first one.
Tyrone, your counterpart Talim seemed to have a completely different reaction to the trailer. I don't know if he's listening, but he seemed to be pretty ecstatic about the fact that this most recent trailer is giving him very successful vibes. What say you, Ty? You enjoyed the trailer?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, one of the things we've been talking about today is DC and Marvel and who their target audience is. The target audience for Marvel is always going to be kids. And as much as we know that Venom is violent, you can't show too much when you're right. trying to pander to kids. So I mean, you can go hire James Gunn if you want, Venom to eat people, straight up and chew up body parts and all of that kind of stuff. But I think to Tyrone's point about the first movie, the comedic side of that movie is what made it good. That's what actually made the movie good, is the way that the relationship between Tom and his symbiote, and that dialogue that they have between each other is the same thing that you're going to see in Venom 2. And for me, I think I've been saying this since day one. Woody Harrelson, to me, he's one of the best actors out there. Like his level of range. Because I've seen him in so many different roles and so many different things. He does a lot of comedy, of course, but I have seen him in other stuff as well. And he usually does a really, really good job. Now, this role for him, to me, is gonna be exceptional. I really think he's going to bring a lot to the character of Carnage. And if they are going to stay with the slapstick side of it, I think they got the right guy. I think he's definitely going to be funny if they're going to do the back and forth and the dialogue between his symbiote and why is his name Tom's symbiote? So I mean, I think it's going to be great. Visually, it looks awesome.
I hope so. They do a pretty good job with the visuals for sure. That was never a complaint of mine. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you that the first one being funnier than expected was good. I worry that they're going to go too far with that and go silly in a way that just kind of takes away any kind of weight to these characters, like where you don't feel like it feels like there's conflict between them, but there's no real implications for like what's happening around you. You know what I mean? I think that's where these Venom movies and any of the Spider-Man villain movies are going to suffer, because without having this is going to be terrible for everybody around us if we don't fail, and then like the Spider-Man comes through and saves the day. Without having that, they're just kind of like having to find other ways to wrap up a story, and I just don't know if it's hitting right. I think doing this without Spider-Man, if he doesn't show up in this movie at all, is it's still going to be one of the biggest problems with these Sony movies and with Venom as a character.
Yeah. Yes. Did you see the trailer? Yes.
Yeah, I saw it.
You digging it? You got any opinions on it?
I am so ready to see Woody Harrelson like eat people. I'm not gonna lie.
With a knife and fork, just Woody Harrelson eating somebody for 90 minutes.
Woody Harrelson, just like how I've always knew that like he would be a great villain. You know what I'm saying? He's so creepy, and he's just good at just being hilarious. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like creepy and cute at the same time. It's really weird. Like that crossover, I can't with him, to be honest with you. So okay. I'm excited to see him eat. Like, look at this face. Like he's so cute. You just want to pinch his cheeks. Like,
yeah, it's definitely the type that's like, that serial killer was really attractive. Are you trying
to say I have Harley Quinn vibes? I like fall for like the psycho and throw myself in a bad
definitely would have been one of Charles Manson's girlfriends.
Yeah, I think it's more
actually. Have you guys seen the documentary about that on Netflix? It's fucking nuts, by the way. I've watched it, and just because like I want to know like what it was like to be those women, and that shit is fucking crazy. Like 2 of them are still in actual prison to this day.
Well, yeah, because he didn't actually kill anybody.
No, he didn't. He didn't. He convinced people to kill other people.
Right. It's almost as if he sent people to the Capitol. That's interesting. That's a whole other subject. Yeah, man. What's up?
I just wanted to say this because Tyrone made a point about, you know, like it may possibly hurt, you know, that I don't know necessarily if it'll hurt the movie or just the whole franchise if they go with the slapstick, you know, kind of go too hard with the comedic side of it. Well, we've been doing numbers. We've been talking numbers today, so you know I'm gonna stay in numbers again. So the budget for the original Venom movie was $100 to $116 million. Okay. They grossed $856.1 million, which is close to $1 billion, which looks like a significant profit. Doesn't look like they were hurt at all. If again, your target audience, especially for the Spider-Man universe, is children.
Well, this isn't the Spider-Man universe.
Well,
what?
Okay,
it's not. They can't. It can't because Spider-Man's an MCU and they're not doing Spider-Man.
Well,
this is the Spider-Man universe.
Okay.
And that's the biggest problem.
We're getting technical, and you know what? I guess I have to clarify since we're getting technical today. Venom is associated more with Spider-Man than anybody else in the MCU.
Yeah, thank you for helping make my point. Appreciate it. Thank you.
He's associated with them. So basically what I'm saying is if when you're talking about Spider-Man in that universe, it's pedals to kids. It's more for kids. You know what I'm saying? Like this is more than any because it's quirky, it's funny, it's comedic. That's what Spider-Man is. The friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. That's what we're getting. Yeah. So
we're not though. We're not getting any Spider-Man. That's the point.
Yo,
you about to make that vein pop on his head, bro. I swear
yeah,
to
man.
God.
Yeah,
man.
man.
No, but you get but you're in your argument. You keep using Spider-Man, but Spider-Man doesn't exist in this so far in this Venom universe at all. And that's the thing.
I was speaking. Well, basically, what I was saying was, and I was speaking from the stance of when you say it. When your comment was, it seems as though it's going to be slapstick. And what my fear is that they're going to go too far towards the comedy side of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm basically saying is they're pandering to children in this scenario. These even though Venom has not seen Spider-Man, Spider-Man has not seen Venom. We know from the comic books that they are associated. So if they are associated, then you still keep the same energy in that realm of or whatever. We'll just say within that realm. So that's why I'm saying we won't see a James Gunn version of Venom, even though we want to see a James Gunn version of Venom, because Tom is a very likable character. He's extremely lovable, likable, all of those things. The ladies love him, all of that good stuff. And one of the things that the MCU has, and not just Marvel, but I mean in a whole has done, is make us fall in love with the villains instead of having like this hatred towards villains and everything like that. And look, he's what is he at this point? Is an anti-hero, right?
Yeah, Venom is one of the classic anti-heroes for Marvel.
One of the original anti-heroes. But I will say this, man, I take issue with you saying constantly that they're aiming for kids. I disagree with that. Yeah. I disagree. I mean, this movie is rated R. You know what I'm saying? When you're aiming for kids, then you're going for PG-13. Now, I'm not saying that they don't have kids in mind. You know, they're definitely going to sell the fuck out of Carnage action figures, and there's going to be all kind of baby shirts with Venom and Carnage Funko pops on them. So they're definitely going to capitalize on that. But I don't think that the production of this movie is tailored and targeting children. I also take issue with Tyrone saying that Carnage isn't in the Spider-Man universe. Venom is. Of course he is. I mean, maybe he's not in the MCU.
No. That's the thing. Like, well, he's and they have established in that first Venom movie, there's no connection to Spider-Man whatsoever. Like, there's no connection. Right. Yeah. And we don't know if there's going to be, and there may not be, because this is Sony. It's not the MCU, and like it works differently. But like that's the thing. Like all of part of my complaint with this is that I think the way that they introduced us to Venom and the foundation of the Venom that we have is off because there's no Spider-Man, and I can't like Venom exists the way he does visually and the way he does with his powers and stuff like that is because he mimics Spider-Man.
Yes,
Thank you. It's like because of all of this, it's really hard to see. It's hard to see how they continue without ever addressing Spider-Man's existence at all. I mean, they're on a completely other side of the country. But also we say but we don't know if it's going to ever be a thing.
I mean, but we do, because the whole purpose of the merger was to make it a thing. Like otherwise, what was the purpose of the merger? That we got to start looking at you, like, because you're talking from the perspective of when before the merger, when it made.
No, I'm not because this is we'll see. We'll learn more after this next Spider-Man movie to see if we're going, because it wasn't a merger. The way it works, Marvel Studios has creative control over Spider-Man right now. What's happening with Spider-Man's character as it pertains to the MCU, and they also have distribution rights and all that other stuff. They don't have so far. We haven't had any kind of merging of the two, and we don't know how it's going to work yet. So once we see it, we'll understand more. But right now, we haven't heard any kind of plans to introduce Venom into the MCU from the MCU, from Kevin Feige or anybody who has any kind of say in the matter. So it's and who knows if there is that connection, it might be good, and I might be like, oh, thank you, because I would love to see these characters do well, because Venom and Carnage, some of my favorites, you know what I mean? But just it feels weird getting them without the thing that makes them basically gives them a reason to exist. It's just strange, and I hope that we one day do get that. But right now, it's really difficult to get excited about it because it's incomplete.
Yeah, I mean it. Whoa! I don't know how I got all of me on stage. It does make complete sense. I'm on board with you. Let me play musical chairs here. I'm completely on board with you, man. As it pertains to the origin story, I didn't like how they did that. I don't know why Eddie Brock is in California in the first place. The whole purpose of Spider-Man, Eddie Brock's whole issue is that Peter Parker and Spider-Man, because he knows his real identity, completely fucked over his life. He took his life, took his girl, took his job, just put him on his dick for the whole entire for his life. And so, if you read the comics, Venom isn't even a villain. He just hates Spider-Man. He's even helpful at times. He even does things, So it's funny that they have not incorporated Spider-Man because of the Sony, the complexity with Sony's whole, ownership over Spider-Man at first.
Can we
because
just
there was no Marvel.
Can I just say that I'm very grateful, though, that we did not continue with Eric from that 70s show as Eddie Brock.
Yes.
Yes. Not fucking sexy ass Tom, like Tom to fucking do it. So I'm very happy with these choices, and thank you, because
terrible.
Oh my God, reuse him as many times as you guys need to. He's amazing.
Yo, Topher Grace was the worst casting decision.
So bad. It was so bad.
Now I would see him more as Cletus Cassidy, even though I'm starting to grow on. Woody Harrelson is starting to grow on me a little bit.
Is he?
Because you were hating hardcore when it first came out.
Wasn't he arguing me down, right? Yeah.
All right. Look, I still ain't in love with the idea.
Will be.
But you know who I would have. Who I could have seen more than I might. I'm gonna give Woody his chance to show out. I could have seen Matthew McConaughey as well, playing in that.
Really?
Yes, kind of, but he doesn't have the psycho
the natural born killer.
Woody Harrelson, he got that shit down. You know what I mean? That's the looks, literally, he gives me chills watching him. You know what I'm saying? I cannot wait.
I think it should have been Michael.
Look at him, he's so creepy.
Michael Cera.
Oh my God, yeah, he would have did good. Michael Cera would have did good. I love Michael Cera.
That would have been such a, because that's the thing about Cletus Cassidy is he's just so, outside of just being a psycho, he's just so unassuming. He's not He's not a big dude. He's not scary. He's just psycho.
Yeah.
And then Carnage kind of takes it.
Saw Michael Cera though, like let's be serious, and like this is the end, and he was like snoring coke off some bitches in the bathroom.
Exactly, perfectly. Cletus Cassidy.
He was like, "What's up, man?
I want that.
You like coke?
Yeah, that's Michael Cera. I love him. I love that guy. His comedy is second to none. I love it.
Yeah, Michael Cera is.
I do want to.
You're missing out.
Yeah, I do want to say I do hope. I really do hope, because I'm not just hating. I hope that we get Tom Hardy and Tom Hardy's Venom in the MCU, and even I don't even know. I haven't seen Woody Harrelson's Cletus Cassidy or Carnage yet, but visually it looks good, and I really hope that what Sony's doing here lays the groundwork for eventually us getting the Spider-Man universe that we deserve.
Yeah, I mean, it has to. I think that's what Ty was saying. I think Ty's basically like, look, man, if they do all of this shit and somehow don't end up tying together all of these characters that are, look, it's not just Spider-Man and Venom and Carnage. They also got Kraven the Hunter on the way.
Morbius.
Excuse me. They're talking about having the Sinister Six movie, and I think if they have a Sinister Six movie, who's going to be the hero in that movie? It can't be Venom, right?
Just having tea and talking about evil shit.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what was that? Oh man, I can't remember what that show was where there was like, did you ever see that that Adult Swim? They had this what's the Robot Chicken, where like all of the villains were like meeting up, and
was it like when they're doing the Legion of Doom?
The Legion of Doom, I think it is.
Friends. Yeah.
That was like
the Legion of Doom. Oh my god.
That's old school. Solomon Grundy and all those. Yeah.
I love it. But but I gotta agree with Ty with Ty on this one, man. Like they absolutely cannot develop these characters and not tie them into the Spider-Man universe. I think that here's what I think is happening, Tyrone. I think that Sony is trying to pin the Spider-Verse against the Marvel, the MCU. I think they're trying to compete with the MCU.
That's pretty much what I was.
Sony, you know what I'm saying, and draw that and probably try to bring Spider-Man back from Marvel. Because remember, this is all happening. This all happening because when Marvel first started releasing the Spider-Man movies, they didn't have Marvel Studios, so it was the rights were bought by Sony, so that movie could be as dope as it was. And you could argue about how whether or not it translated or it still holds up, and it doesn't. If you go back and watch Tobey Maguire, there's a scene where he swings down to get a kid. But he swings completely he's like completely horizontal in the shot. You know what I mean? But it doesn't make sense because he's swinging from up, but he's horizontal. You gotta watch it. Still, I still think that again, Tobey Maguire is the best Peter Parker that we've had. Okay. As for the Spider-Man, yes, debatable, but I still think that
Tom is the best we've had.
No.
Tom is definitely the best we've had.
Tom is the best Spider-Man.
Listen, all right, this I'm glad you brought this up, actually, because no lie, I was literally I just rewatched The Great Gatsby. It is one of my favorite movies. Okay, that is the only movie I will give Tobey Maguire any fucking credit as to he was an okay actor in. All the other ones.
Come on, man.
And look, let's be clear, Vince. Toby was like, what, 30 when he was doing that?
He was still bad.
He was not a teenager, dude.
He was in his 20s. Come on, give me a break.
Probably his mid to late 20s.
No, damn it. Yo, come on, man.
He was not in his early 20s when he did that Spider-Man movie.
Not lying.
No, like, bro, you tripping.
Younger than he looks, because he's one of those he's one of those people who looks young and old at the same time. Like he might be 45, but he also might be 20.
Listen, when we were watching Harry Potter was like 30 years old.
No, he was nigga. Oh my god!
When we thought he was in
Gary Coleman shit,
he was like 12. We thought he was 12. He was like 20.
No, you were wilding, man. First of all, no, I think you're all wrong. Tobey Maguire was the best Peter Parker. All right, because here's my listen, hear me out. Here's why. Tobey Maguire, first of all, he was the Peter Parker from the comic books, not the Ultimate Spider-Man, but the amazing Spider-Man, the sensational Spider-Man, the one who had an aunt that looked like an aunt, not one that looked like a supermodel. All right. He struggled. He never got his shit together. Never had his shit together. He didn't have Iron Man or Tony Stark to give him any gadgets. All right. None of that other bullshit. He had to learn how to swing, how to do everything all on his own. Okay. And no matter how much he gained, he always lost something. This motherfucker in the first movie had to kill his best friend's dad. He didn't even kill him. Like, he killed himself. And then his best friend thought that he killed him, and then they end up beefing. That's the Peter Parker that we grew up. That's the comic book Peter Parker. This new Spider-Man, he's Tony Stark's nephew. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got gadgets galore. He doesn't really much have to do shit because his freaking costume does everything for him. And in the Peter Parker universe, he's got friends. The motherfucker's got friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, freaking Ned. I mean, that's his boy. He's not even like he always was supposed to be like beefing with Flash Thompson, but Flash is just a guy who talks shit. But even he eventually ends up teaming up with him a little bit. So I don't like this. I'm not mad at Tom Holland. I think Tom Holland is the best embodiment of overall Spider-Man. But in terms of Peter Parker as a standalone character, there's no doubt whatsoever that Peter Parker was embodied the best by Tobey Maguire. I will not. I'm taking that shit to the grave, bro. Like, there's no.
Well, you will be taking it to the grave, sir, because that you are talking about a grown ass man. Listen,
I'm gonna kill you.
I'm just listening to you, and I'm just you're like, yo, he didn't have this and he didn't have that. Well, he had a job and he was grown. So I mean, like, what else did you want us to give him? That's Tom has friends because he's still in high school. He has friends like that are funny and witty, and Flash is not trying to kill him because he's a fucking teenager. My bad. My bad that Spider-Man, you are really taking this whole Spider-Man thing to like
whoa
to the next level, bro.
You're wilding, bro. Look, I still don't get it. Like, this freaking okay, what are Tom Holland's Spider-Man, his Peter Parker, what are his real conflicts? What's his real issue? That he wants to, he's waiting for Tony Stark died. That what he never asked about his parents. He doesn't give a shit. Uncle Ben hasn't even been referenced in these movies. Well, where's he struggling?
He has.
I mean, barely. In Homecoming, he was barely referenced. All right. What is his real struggle here? That he's coming into being Spider-Man after he's already fought Thanos? I mean, come on, bro. Like, what is Peter Parker's real struggle in this new age Spider-Man? In the first ones, he was struggling. The motherfucker, like you said, he had a job, but he was on a moped. He's working at a pizza spot where he was getting fired every other day. This motherfucker was not even able to keep his photography job with J. Jonah Jameson. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't get the girl he liked because his best friend was fucking her too. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? There's no comparison. This freaking Spider-Man in Tom Holland has had not one but two women of color as his girlfriend, love interest, both of which are fucking with him and not giving him any grief. Spider-Man, Peter Parker it took him 3 movies to get Mary Jane to sign on finally. So
Mary Jane was a grown-ass woman. What the hell grief is you supposed to be getting from a 16-year-old girl other than don't talk to my friends? My homegirls. Like, what else is he supposed to be doing?
But that's my point. But he's not like listen. The best parts in my opinion of Spider-Man, what made me love Spider-Man is the relatability factor. All right, the easy to say, look, I can see myself. I can see that happening to me factor. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't him having all powers, being a rich. It wasn't him, under that stuff. It's a dude who's geeky as shit, who gets picked on, he gets bullied, he gets bit, he has to hide his identity. He freaking goes around saving people at night instead of studying, which is what he wants to do. His aunt that he loves, the only member of his family, hates Spider-Man but loves him. That's not even what's going on with Tom Holland. His aunt knows who the fuck he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no comparison with this freaking new Spider-Man and the old Peter Parker. I don't look, I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man right now. But in terms of the poetic essence that is Peter Parker, that's represented by the struggles, that's represented by him never ever really being able to be comfortable in his own skin, by him in one comic book being forced to hunt down and kill Mary Jane, even though he didn't go through with it because the Jackal put something in his head that made it so that if he kills the Jackal or the Jackal dies, then his mind will be altered to want to kill the person that he loves the most. And those type of instances I see happening with Peter Parker's character. Look at what happened with the struggle between him, Felicia Hardy, and Mary Jane. You know what I'm saying? With him getting the black spider suit, which again was the worst of the 3 installments, obviously. But there's no comparison. In my mind, I don't know where y'all come off with this.
You talked about him being uncomfortable with his own skin. Well, I mean, pretty much the biggest plot point of Far From Home was that he was so uncomfortable with the idea of being a hero, of being like the guy that everybody's looking at, that he hands all of the technology over to Mysterio and is like, you should be the guy because I can't be the guy. I'm just this kid. I just want to be on vacation with my friends. I don't want to be in high school. Yeah, I want to just be a person and not be this. I just saw my mentor die, and now I'm just like, having. So I think there's elements of that. I think they and I'm not trying to convince you to like it because I know that you have a certain Peter Parker that you like. I think with this one, they're kind of moving away from the can't pay his rent, can't get the girl sort of thing, and going into a kind of bigger issues, a little bit more universal issues. And I think it's fair to say that when you part of Spider-Man is like being in Queens and being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and we're not getting a lot of that Peter Parker because everything he's been in so far has just been so like huge. Yeah, he's been abroad. He's been everywhere but New York. So there's some of that, but hopefully and it sounds like it's going to get even bigger. So hopefully, Vince, No Way Home is not too hard for you to watch. But but I'd love to see some more local Spider-Man. Hopefully, we get a little bit of that. But I think from what Tom Holland gives us, he's very likable, but he's never too confident unless he's like in the middle of a fight as Spider-Man. I feel like they nail that because like as Peter Parker, he's kind of nervous, he's unsure of himself, he's still kind of trying to make his way through things. Yeah. But then as Spider-Man, when he's fighting, like he's whipping, he's talking shit, he's doing the Spider-Man stuff that you expect out of Spider-Man. I think they balanced it pretty well.
Vince, since you like the real like reality or realistic version of Spider-Man, I hope that this version of Tobey Maguire that we see in the No Way Home joint, I hope he's like battling weed addiction because they made it legal in Queens, and like has like a divorce, is divorced and shit, and got a couple kids. I want the realities of the world to have affected him. And so he's like, you know what? Fuck them kids. Fuck Queens. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, we in the middle of a pandemic. Y'all think I'm about to go out here and save you motherfuckers? One of you motherfuckers got COVID. I'm not doing it. I want that version. If they give me that version of Tobey Maguire, bro, me and you are on the same page. I think he's the best Spider-Man to ever live.
All right. I mean, I don't know if
that's almost like a Logan version of Spider-Man. I'm here for it.
Hell yeah. One of you motherfuckers got COVID. All right. Yeah, that's the new joint for the day. Well, look, we can debate this all day, man. But hopefully they do find a successful, interloop where they can bring these two universes together. I'm 100% on board with Tyrone saying, and that there's this whole weird marriage between Sony and Marvel Studios that is making this complicated. There's no reason why Eddie Brock should have been based in California. There's no reason why the symbiote, which is Prometheum X, that should have been the first encounter from the Prometheum X after landing in New York off that space shuttle was with Spider-Man, which is where he got the DNA structure that eventually ended up going into Eddie Brock, which is why they have the ability to shoot webs and things like that. So it kind of fucks up the whole, which not actually webs, but the symbiote is able to emulate what Spider-Man's capabilities were. So I mean, I didn't even like the fact that Riot in the first Venom was a I mean, I guess they had to have a villain, but it was like, yo, I mean, now there's 2 symbiotic characters that are based on just being symbiote and have no Spider-Man, link. It was a little frustrating from an avid comic reader of this character to see how they mutilated the storyline. But at the same time, I did love what they did perfectly was show the dichotomy of the existence of the symbiote and Eddie Brock in that they're not the same. Venom never referred to himself as I. It was always we. It was we, us, we, us, we, us. And I think that they did that pretty well. Now, as far as slapstick goes, and I'm going to try to wrap this up. We're trying to keep it close to 2 hours. Actually, I was trying to keep it under 2 hours. But I will say that in terms of the humor element of it, it worked for Thor, right? It worked for Thor. Like the first Thor was trash in my opinion. Like I that first Thor with Natalie Portman in Arizona or wherever the fuck it was set. I was like, this shit sucks, man. Like they brought that the thing down, that big, the day the earth stood still, a monster or whatever. And I was like, all right, man, so what? And then in Thor Dark World, he turns into he's completely humorous. It's just so much better. I don't know if it works for Carnage because in the comics and even in the cartoons, Carnage was not funny at all. No, you know what I'm saying? He was freaky as shit. And Venom might say some quips every now and then, but if they try to make Carnage into like a humorous character, then I will take. I don't know if offense is the word, or it will set me aback a little bit. But
boycotting it
from the trailer, it looks like it. I mean, and anybody else who's seen the trailer, let me know if I'm wrong. But it does seem as though the thing that we just were asking about from Harley Quinn and showing the psychotic side of her is something that they may kind of play with and explore with the Carnage side, because you saw a lot in the trailer, what I'm saying, you saw him being caged, and I definitely don't want to tell you because you hate watching trailers and everything and knowing it. But in essence, there were key moments in the trailer where you're just like, yo, Carnage is about to be, this is about, he's a badass, like just the costume, you're like, okay, I'm here for this. So I'm hoping that it really translates.
All right. Well, we can only hope for the best, man. It's weird because we talked about keeping the show at 2 hours, and I guess that seems like it's so long, but the time goes by so fast. For me, when we do the show. So I guess we should wrap it up. But damn, there's a few other things I wanted to talk about. But
so talk about them.
Finish it up.
Yes, sir. Yeah. All right. I'm sorry.
Don't say there's a few things.
I'm trying to balance.
We're over here like, yo, man, we said 2 hours, get off the show.
Well, yeah. I'm trying to bring some structure to the shit, man. We just get on there and talk shit, for hours on end, and it's harder to edit when it's so much longer.
All we're gonna do, people, for those that out there that don't know, is we're gonna go off of live, and then we're gonna go behind the scenes and talk for another hour. So just so you know,
Yaz doesn't have time for that today. I gotta wrap.
It's gotta go.
Yaz got stuff to do. We gotta wrap this up. I gotta get to work.
Okay, all right. Well, then, in the spirit of keeping Yaz happy, which is all we live for, honestly, we may as well go ahead and wrap it up. But
all right,
let's do hope that. They do this Spider-Verse thing, right? If the rumors are true about Daredevil appearing and Jessica Jones showing up, and there being more crossovers from the Marvel Netflix series into the movies, I'm definitely here for that. I frankly don't think Kraven the Hunter needs a movie. I think that's a waste of cinematic energy. I think he may be able. I'd rather see him as a Netflix, as a Daredevil-esque show. 6 episodes only, but I don't think I think Kraven Hunter, frankly, was one of the most boring characters, the most boring villains. Like, your superpowers, you can hunt because you can smell and hear real good. Join the rest of the superpowers. Who the fuck you do real good, in a red state, but don't nobody give a fuck about that shit, man. Like, so I don't know why they're making
you just campaigned for a female who has absolutely no powers. I just want you to know that.
What you talking? What you talking about? Jessica Jones?
You campaigned for a Harley Quinn movie, and she has no powers.
All right, but see, neither does Batman. All right, so
no, I'm just saying, and you just were like,
I'm just saying, like it's not
somebody with no powers.
All right. Well, let me say this: it's not his powers or lack thereof that makes him boring. It's his character that's just boring as fuck. I mean,
in the comic book, his character is boring as fuck.
I mean, how exciting can he be? I mean, he thinks he's Tarzan. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so the fuck what? You know, he wears a freaking. He thinks he's an animal. All right, big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not impressed.
2 hours right here.
All right, yeah, because I'm going to just keep going. So go ahead and end it on that note.
All right. Well, anyway, we'll talk more about it later. I think we should maybe even do a pop-up because we do have a lot of stuff. But next week, guys, if I'm not mistaken, we will be going live at MegaCon. We have our panel at MegaCon. We will all be in the same city. I don't know. Tyrone's starting to get a little nervous.
I'm gonna stay nervous, but I'll be there.
Gotta
be masked up. So
yep, double mask. Yep,
got a hazmat suit.
Yeah, he'll be in full space suit gear.
I got plenty of Lysol and hand sanitizers. Don't worry.
Hilarious. All right, cool. Well, on the way out, once again, guys, make sure y'all check us out. We are on Spotify. We are on YouTube's. We're on the Apple Musics, the iHeart Musics. All right, everything like that. So check us out and definitely make sure you all, if you are going to be in the Orlando area and you are planning to attend MegaCon, come on out and see us. We will be at our panel in a room in Unit 307 on Saturday in Concord B, if I'm not mistaken, for MegaCon.
What time?
11 a.m.
11
on Saturday.
11 a.m. Lisa.
a.m. and we'll be giving our flyers, shirts, and fist daps at our booth, as well as Yazzie, who is actually it looked like Ty and Yaz were looking at the same person for a second. Did you see that?
I have a delivery that's like being delivered.
Oh, you gotta go. Okay, all right.
So like I'm trying to make sure this dude doesn't start ringing my doorbell like a fucking psycho. So.
Oh, okay. Well, don't ring the bell like I said. Well, anyway, guys, hey, check us out on the replay, man. That's Tyrone. That's Tyrone. That's Talene. That's Yaz. I'm Vince Taylor, and y'all make sure y'all check us out later. Be your authentic self. If you're not, you being fake, and let that geek flag fly and all that good stuff. Whatever. I don't.
Fighter 2, I just really hate Zangief, only Ken and Ra. You, I find it hard to be Blanca, keep a wee ninja hanging and our uncle album banging. If you negative in energy, then stay out the vicinity of, yeah, them niggas over there.